Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily Dvar. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Tuesday, 12th day of June. Here we go. Today, another law about washing your hands, netilas yadayim. Probably a lot of you know that the water that you use for netilas yadayim must be unused. And let me explain what I mean by that. For example, this one's obvious. If someone had used a mop, and you have mopped water, dirty, mopped up floor water in a bucket, of course you cannot use that water for netilas yadayim. But even if the water is rather clean, but it's still used, it's still not supposed to be used for netilas yadayim. Some examples. For example, let's say somebody used, so they had some fruit, and they just wanted those fruit to soak in some water for whatever reason. And then after the fruit soaked in the water, you took the fruit out, and now you have that water left in a bucket or something. It's clean. It was just used to soak some fruit. So the halacha is you're not allowed to use those water for washing netilas yadayim, and that's because they're quote-unquote used. That's the law. Now, if the water was only partially used, like for example, somebody wanted to wash an apple and just scooped up with whatever, some water out of there to rinse an apple with, but all the other water is just fine, so it might seem to be used to you because you put your hand in there to get some water out to wash an apple. That's not considered used. It was touched, but that's not such a big problem. Mostly you took out some of the water for just using to wash something outside of there. As long as only some of the water was used, but most of it is not quote-unquote used water, then it's absolutely fine for netilas yadayim. Therefore, another interesting thing to note is that well, like if somebody used waters for netilas yadayim and poured them into something, you probably know this from whenever you see public washings. Once somebody poured water into another container for netilas yadayim, they used it, washed their hands with it, that's now considered used and you shouldn't wash your hands with it. But last point here is, sometimes somebody brings fresh water to a washing station, and while they were carrying the, I won't say bucket, but you know what I mean, the container holding the water splashed around and some of it touched their hands. Is that called used? The answer is no. That water's fine. The fact that it touched a little bit somebody else's hand is not really as big a problem as you think, and therefore when somebody carries the water to your washing station, it's not a big deal if the waiter's hand just touched the water. Even though his hands were not washed, it doesn't matter. It's not called used. He was carrying the water to you for netilas yadayim. Yes, a drip of it touched his hand. That does not ruin it. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.